Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome back to Snowdome. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas / holidays. Let's get back into the grind of things. So where shall I begin? Just when you asked me to swear that I'll help you to protect the world, then what kind of crisis is the world facing, Miss Aishu? About that, actually the aliens have already invaded this planet. Are they called humans? Okay. I'm not sure why, but it felt like someone poured cold water onto my heart, which had been so full of anticipation. It feels like I already heard this alien invasion trope too many times. Such plot happens in sci-fi movies all the time. Luxian even discussed this with me a while ago. She said that if any movie from the past few years is about aliens, then we can most likely treat it as B-rated junk. Luxian is a very trendy person that often goes and watches movies. That's why she is particularly credible. Are you shocked? Actually, all the humans on Pinghua Island have been controlled by the aliens. It's only that you haven't realized. So how did the aliens get control of Pinghua Island? Why hasn't anyone discovered them yet? Actually, Aishu goes silent for a moment. The aliens have used mind control to take over the whole island. What on earth is all of this about? Like honestly, just look at all that carnage. Humans who are controlled won't remember anything about the aliens. That's why they never realized they are being controlled. So is that why the protagonist doesn't have certain memories of their past? Is because of this alien invasion? Whoa, that's scary. Actually, Luxian also told me whenever mind control appears in movies, it's most likely a bad movie too. The reason behind this is obvious. The scriptwriter wants to write about too much stuff. In the end, the plot becomes a tangled mess. Indeed. Just stick to the point rather than having so many loose ends. Exactly. In order to tie up all the loose ends and reach an ending, scriptwriters will therefore use mind control as a trope. Or even worse, just says, it's all a dream, it was all in your mind. Something like that. Such Deus Ex Machina are too convenient to use. Many critics have pointed this out for many years. I have already lost interest in what Aishu has to say, but she is still eyeing me with excitement. Why excitement if there is an alien invasion? I can only continue asking. Then what about the successors? Because the aliens' mind control is too strong, even the hardest armor can't resist their mental attacks. Yeah, well, that's because they attack psychologically. Brainwaves. But they don't attack an armor, they attack you. In the mind. The humans who are controlled will even attempt to kill each other. Oh, yikes. This way, none of the defenses on Earth could effectively deal with the aliens. That's why the government created a secret plan. They used biotechnology to create a new species of humankind. These humans are immune to the aliens' mind control. They are the embodiment of the hope of all humans. That's why they are called the successors. Aishu raises her modest chest, showing how proud she is of herself. However, this story sounds really cliche. And also, because we're here, doesn't that mean that aliens kind of know what is going on right now when it comes to these newly genetic, quote-unquote, human beings? New humans, genetic engineering. A lot of science fiction stories already have these kinds of key words. Aishu's background is becoming more suspicious. Everything she says sounds like it's been pulled out of a third-rated sci-fi novel. If Aishu was playing Among Us, she definitely would be sus right now. If she was lying, she probably should have made up a more believable story. I get it. So, what kind of superpowers do the successors possess? Can your eyes shoot out lasers? This isn't X-Men. Or can you fly up to the sky? Okay, that's mundane. We're not Superman here. Those are not successors. I can't do such things. It's a good thing you can't. Then what can successors do that ordinary people can't do? Can you show it to me? I don't think it's something that she can show. In the end, successors are only people that are slightly modified. The only special thing is, they can resist against the aliens' mind control. What else? What else? Oh yeah, they said something about storing information in a different way. Aju's shuts her eyes and think. Maybe they're slightly gentler and cute? Why? You trying to say that you're waifus? That's not the kind of special I'm looking for. Yes. So after the successors were born, what happened? Did you defeat the aliens? Unfortunately, the aliens haven't been defeated yet. Even Pinghua Island is now controlled by the aliens. Whoopee. It's almost like Pinghua Island is the only place in this entire world that exists. When the successors completed their training, the unified government was already destroyed by the aliens. Our base was discovered by the aliens, and was destroyed. A lot of successors died. Fortunately, I escaped, ended up here. I'm not sure if there are any other successors in this world. Maybe I'm the only one left. The last successor, huh? It sounds like the title of a novel. I was going to ask Aishu to find other successors and let me interrogate them, but she shut down that path too. Yep, process of elimination, in a way. My powers are not enough to resist against the aliens. That's why I need to find people like you to help me save the world. Yeah, people on Pinghua Island who is likely controlled by aliens. For goodness sakes. We have to liberate humans from the aliens' chains. Is that why everyone is so annoying or so mean towards our character? Maybe we're the only ones who are freed from the aliens' purge. Wait, what will the aliens do to humans? Humans will become slaves to the aliens. That's terrifying. They are exhausted every day, earn very little money, and are always unhappy. Okay, so like, our character's boss. All the wealth ends up with the aliens. They won't show their faces in front of humans, and will just enjoy their wealth in secret. That's definitely miserable, but even without aliens, it's already like that. This is society's problem. If we delve into it, it will just get more complicated. Yes, the more pieces you try and unravel from the puzzle itself, the more complicated the puzzle itself becomes. Anyway, I need to liberate everyone, and set humans free! That's a huge goal. Then what are you going to do first? First, I need to hide away and evade any aliens who are trying to capture me. They know the successors can't be controlled, so they'll order the institutionalized violent government to capture me. If I'm not wrong, that's probably referring to the police helping you to find your parents. And then I need to find companions like you who will help me save the world. I see. Is there a chance for me to refuse? Maybe you're gonna say that the world is not worth saving. After that, we need to construct a boat and leave this controlled island. The aliens haven't controlled the whole planet yet. We need to construct our own base and assemble all 3 humans and take back our homeland. What the hell, for goodness sakes. This is going from sci-fi to a tribe movie of sorts, so. Sounds like what we should do. But why do we need to construct a boat? The aliens already have control over all transportation on Pinghua Island. If we take a boat or plane, we'll immediately get caught. That's why we must build a boat. It's because you don't have money to buy a ticket. Because we're successors. We don't have those kind of things. Anyway, you're now my first companion. My plan has taken a huge step forward. Yes, we've increased the amount in our army from 1 person to 2 people. I need to get some good rest. Also, when will the tea be ready? I don't know. I couldn't make the tea. Oh, it's nearly done. Okay. There we go. As Aishu and I chatted, the scent of tea has already filled up the room. The tranquil moonlight is shining through the window. I recall the romanticism of our ancestors who used to raise their glasses towards the moon. Aishu leaves our topic behind and raises her cup of hot tea. She touches the white ceramic teacup with her lips and carefully tastes the tea's flavour. Suddenly, her lips purse, just like she carelessly got burnt by the hot water. Aisha is now finally showing a naivety more suited to her age. No matter how you look at her, she doesn't look like a successor that was created from a laboratory. My back, which was straight just a moment ago, is already hunched over. Looks like I'm expecting too much from her. According to Aishu's story, she is just a human who can't be controlled by aliens. She doesn't have any superpowers. Even the alien's mind control is something she probably made up herself. If she was an ancient princess who just woke up from her sleep, or a messenger from the future who was just travelling back from an apocalyptic world, Terminator, that would be even more ridiculous. Aliens do not exist. Even if people with superpowers or time travelers exist, there's definitely no chance they'll appear before me. Aisha is only an ordinary girl, but she's totally immersed in her own dreams, and treating herself as a protagonist in her fairy story. But I won't laugh at her, because I also did something similar to her before. When I was about 16 years old, I would always fantasize about myself as a superhero who will save the world. I believed that I was different from others. We always need to feel that we are different from others, not morally. I had high hopes and came to the city. I've heard about a lot of successful stories, and wanted to become someone like them. Now, the cruelty of reality has shattered the remaining innocence in me. And worst of all, Aishu probably has a complicated family situation. That's why she doesn't want to mention her parents. She even has to pretend to be created by biotechnology. That's basically denying her parents ever existed. Why does she end up in this abandoned site? It probably has something to do with that. So, what I should do next is to send her to the police station. The police will quickly help her find her parents. I might even be rewarded. Don't think of that. The answer has been lingering in my head for a while, but I just can't make up my mind. It's too hot! I can't even tell what it tastes like. When I'm pulled back from my force, I see Aishu, who's tearing up because of a burn. There's an empty cup here. Just pour it between the two cups. What a nice method. Didn't they transmit this kind of knowledge to you? There's no point remembering such trivial things. There is such a time to remember trivial things, and this is the time to remember that. Then what's non-trivial stuff before classics? But those things, because of the side effects of transmitting, I accidentally forgot. I cannot help but laugh. Aishu looks at me dubiously. It must be because I laugh too much. But I can't stop. Ever since I came to the city, I haven't laughed so hard. I'm already used to wearing a mask in my life. Aren't we all by now? Tying myself out just to make ends meet. This tedious and agonizing life has wiped away the emotional side of my soul. But now, I finally rediscovered that long-lost treasure from Aishu. Aishu is like myself from the past, the person who was not suited to the city, unable to make a living, but he lived freely and was always full of energy. The me from back then was a youth, full of hopes and dreams. But he has finally cooled down. Aisha takes a few sips. She wears an astonished expression on her face. I guess so, but tea's flavour is probably too much for a young girl like her. I also take a sip, and bitterness is filling up my mouth. Only a boring adult like me, after experiencing years of hardship and disappointment, hey now, stop it, would fall in love with such flavours. Some tastes are better suited when your taste buds get older. I won't give up Aishu to the police, because I don't want her to appreciate the bitterness of tea so soon. I don't want her to... What is that word? To money. Kyoto to money. I don't want her to become someone like me, a person who only works all day and ends up in a cycle of tediness and boredom. My dream was shattered a long time ago. It's like a snow globe being thrown to the floor, The sands, snowflakes, and little toys are all scattered in the mud, being stamped on. Destroyed. What an anatomy for that. What a nice background to that as well, despite it being quite ominous still. Although we're still in the site. But I can't become like other adults and destroy someone else's dreams, like many adults do. At least, I don't want to become like the people I hate. Heishi will always be a successor. She'll continue to fight against the invisible aliens, as long as she's living happily. Maybe she can always be this pure and innocent. Maybe she can keep on dreaming and never wake up. I raise my teacup and gaze at the moon hanging in the sky. According to legend, the moon has a power that can make people go mad. The time I'm having now might be a prelude to madness. I've overlapped my shadows with hers. I took her dream as mine. I made her heart mine. Because I don't have a dream, nor heart. I only have Aiju to lead me, just like the sandwich that was rotating inside a microwave. As long as Aiju can continue with her dream, then no matter how tiring it is to work at the convenience store, it doesn't matter. Even though my body will keep working, my heart is already flying with Aiju. Chapter 2. Attraction. Come after me and let the people talk. Going into Chapter 3. Immersion. A little bit of pixie dust. Theme fairies. I've been going to the ruins every night. By now, I have memorized the path that I originally had accidentally discovered. What were once peculiar and dangerous structures are now becoming nothing but ordinary to me. Humans are creatures of habit. Indeed they are. As for Aiju, when I first met her, she exuded a surreal and mysterious air. She was like a magnet that deeply attracted my gaze. I am unable to brush away the memory of how her hair danced under the moonlight kept lingering in my mind. Anyone who notices Aiju will fall into such a delusion that if I take away my gaze even slightly, her shadows will disappear into the summer wind. But now, I've seen another side of her. There's nothing mysterious about her. Instead, she's completely pure at heart. She is fundamentally different from so-called adults. How long do we still have to wait? I'd say another 3 minutes. You said that 3 minutes ago. Really? I forgot. You said you forgot 3 minutes ago as well. Okay. I apologize for forgetting what I said 3 minutes ago. Adults are very forgetful. And don't you forget that. I bought hot pot for her today. I carried a portable stove from home specifically made for picnics. I made a charcoal fire and placed a pot on top. Although the ingredients and seasoning are radiating out a aromatic scent, there's no sign the layer of oil on top is boiling. And I thought hot pot should be the easiest for me to cook, but it looks like it's not that simple at all. This is the first time I've tried cooking outside. I had trouble adjusting the fire given the thickness of the pot. If the embers fly out, it'll probably burn some of the antiques in this room. Ready yet? Ready yet? Oh my goodness sakes, you're like that kid who keeps saying, "Are we there yet?" in a car journey. Aiju eagerly stares at a blazing fire and keeps asking if it's ready yet. Looks like she eyes out everything outside these rooms with curiosity. She seems to know that something called hot pot exists, but has never tried it before. According to the rest of the world, Aiju is a girl with a fantasy disorder. We've got two different perspectives here. Aiju's perspective and the rest of the world's perspective. But to me, she's just a girl who trusts very strongly in what she believes in. If I was going to stand on lofty grounds to criticize her, then I'd say she lacks the ability to self-reflect. Our ancestors believed the world is flat. Yeah, bloody flat earthers, I think they're called. When scientific theory and numerical journeys prove that the world's a globe, the ancients did everything they could, including submitting to fallacies to protect their own theory. From the geocentric to heliocentric theory, it's always been that way. ASU lacks the ability to recognize her own mistakes. That air of mystery she displays is probably a way to cover up her own deficiencies. Whenever she mentions those hilarious fantasies of hers, there are instances where I really believe she's a successor who escaped from a laboratory. But the next moment, I'd give my head a shake and throw all those notions away. Ultimately, this meaningless society is the reason I'm unable to believe in Asia. I've worked at a convenience store long enough. I'm familiar with the tired look of those white-collared workers. They're always dressed up in neat and fancy clothes. They must be earning a high income as well. The contracts they negotiate are probably worth millions. A single phone call could set thousands of people into motion. According to society, they are the elites, the drivers of human society, and something that Rintaro Okabe would go up against, also called the organization. But once noon arrives, they'd be wearing their slightly wrinkled shirts, hanging their suits on their arms, line up in front of me. They're all in line to pay me, and waiting for me to return their exchange. They're so similar to the trains on the platform, waiting for passengers to board. At that moment, I would transform into a platform, and they are the trains that run according to a fixed schedule. I believe the character keeps saying this kind of line too many times about how we're essentially on a train journey and therefore we cannot redirect ourselves from the railway. The moment I received their money, I suddenly realized these fatigued white-collared workers are fundamentally no different than me. They probably all have a timetable. They're just running the train according to a predetermined schedule. We take up different roles, but that's the only difference we have. That timetable, reeking of decay, feels so familiar to me. I remember that smell. In such a close-knit society, it's an unavoidable stench. That is, the repulsive scent of human nature. That's why I'm unable to believe that we're being controlled by aliens. Life under alien control probably wouldn't be as comfortable. Or the other way around, it probably would be more comfortable. But at least it would be more... Okay, you didn't have to say that, okay? It would be more exotic. For goodness sakes. And we're still here with this hot pot. I lost track of time. Asia still has her eyes focused on the hot pot. Yarn, don't you feel hungry? Adults sometimes forget that they're hungry. Besides eating, adults think of a lot of other things too. Wouldn't that be dangerous? If you always forget to eat, wouldn't you starve to death? Probably. If I really forgot to eat, then I might actually starve to death. But don't worry, by then a child would come over and tell them they're hungry, and remind the adults to eat, so it's alright if the grown-ups forget. Adults are so sly, I don't want to become an adult. I understand, adults are indeed really sly. That's why, Asia, you don't have to become an adult, just be yourself. As I speak, I lightly place my hand on Asia's head, however she pouts her lips, shaking my hands off. You're not that much older, but you're already feigning to be an adult. Adults are adults. Even if the adult is just a year older than the child, that 1 year already makes a huge difference. You're saying some really strange things. I don't get it. Actually, the side effects of growing up often is to say weird things. Because if adults can't say all the strange stuff in their minds, then this will just accumulate. There we go. And when it starts accumulating, adults will become weirdos. If that adult was already strange, then it will become worse. Even worse. I keep rambling nonsense. Asia keeps rubbing her stomach while whimpering. Looks like she wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. You can't have the cabbage raw. Eat it, fill up your tummy first. You can have it raw. I don't know why I said you can't. There's a unique flavour to fresh vegetables. It's a taste as distinct from a crowded city. I recall the countryside that I'm able to return to. Or you don't want to return to. I was planning to cut up the vegetables up on the spot, but due to safety concerns I didn't bring a knife with me. That's why I had the vegetables and meat all sliced and cut, packaged in a container before bringing them here. Aishu carefully takes a bite at the carrots. She knits up her brows. Don't you want a drink? I take out a few bottles of drinks from my backpack. The one that Aishu is most attracted to is a shiny bottle of fruit wine. I originally brought it here so I can have some myself. I didn't expect Aishu to be so interested in it. Before she could grab a bottle of fruit wine, I quickly snatch it away. Her hand sweeps through the empty air. She pouts and looks up at me. Aishu, how old are you? She rolls her eyes in a circular motion. Right now, I'm 16. Not too different from my own, I guess. Aishu is probably lying about her age, but it wouldn't be that far off. Maybe she's telling her numerical age, where she treats herself as 1 year old once she's born. Whenever people have to appear older, they just use their numeral age, and when it's convenient to appear younger, they'll tell them their real age. People used to do that all the time, yes. That's called getting into pubs to buy an alcoholic drink when you're not that age, but you try and act that age so that people don't suss you out. But if Aishu is around 15, she is far off from the legal drinking age. It can cause a lot of problems if I allow her to drink. You can't drink if you're not 18 years old. Is this alcohol? This can't be alcohol, it's just a normal drink, right? If you're not over 18, you can't drink anything that has alcohol in it. Do you want me to read what's written on the label? It's alright, I'm not an ordinary human. I'm a successor. Rules that apply to humans don't apply. Shut up. Didn't you just say that you're no different from other humans? If humans can't drink, then you can't too. That's not right. There are new rules that state a successor can't drink unless... Asia, you're being illogical right now. Alright, I'll let you drink it then. Oh, goodness sakes, peer pressure, peer pressure. Why do all these protagonists always give in to peer pressure? I hand the bottle over to her. She hugs the bottle, unable to contain a smile. Looks like she's been eyeing this for a while. But... I shrug my shoulders. Now, you can't have hot pots. Eh? Hot pot is food for humans. It contains some dangerous stimulants. You probably can't eat it. If ordinary humans can eat it, then I can too. The bodies of human successors aren't any different. Then you shouldn't have alcohol then. That's not what you just said. What? Also, there's no rule that state successors can have hot pot. Since there isn't, it's safer if you do not have it. Alright, I understand. I'm not going to drink any alcohol. Looks like the boiling aromatic hot pot is much more attractive than the wine. She keeps giving me a sad, pitiful expression, and I'm able to defend against it. However, when that happens, adults always have a way, indeed they do. Alright, I can let you try a sip. Really? Yeah. I pour a little bit of fruit wine into her cup. Aishu lets a huge bright smile and raises her cup and wolfs down the liquid. But her brows instantly furrow up. There's an indescribable expression on her face. It's not tasty at all. I didn't say it was tasty. It's just really bad. The taste is really weird. A bit sour, a bit bitter, but not sweet at all. I guess so. If you drink it, you'll only find it hard to swallow. You knew it was going to happen. Did you give this to me on purpose? You asked for it, but I guess you wouldn't ask for it anymore. This drink is for adults after all. Adults have dull senses. Not only do they fail to grasp other people's hearts, they fail to grasp their own as well. They're unable to appreciate sweet things anymore. That's why adults prefer nasty things. I prefer to call it dry taste and bitter taste. and sour tastes. Not sweet taste or spicy taste or... what's the other kind of taste? It's so sad being an adult. It sure is. The hot pot is finally boiling. We both start putting the meat and vegetables into the pot. Eiju focuses herself on eating as she pushes her sweaty hair behind her ears. I am unable to hide away the uneasiness building up in me as I see how happy Eiju is while she eats. Eiju, when we're done, I have something to say to you. Something important? You look very serious. Eiju puts down her chopsticks and looks at me. I pinch my brow, trying to put up a natural expression. Don't worry, it's not that serious. And I thought you're annoyed with me already. Yan, do you already dislike me? Not yet. Not today. Does that mean you're going to dislike me tomorrow? I ignore her and take a sip from the bottle. This taste definitely can't be described as tasty, but I'm unable to put it down. Everyone drinks alcohols for the same reason. They rely on alcohol to suppress the frustration that's building inside. Whenever I close my eyes, everything that happened at the convenience store today would come back to me. Counting the stock, serving customers. If I say Pinghua Island is a monster that's steadily pacing forward, then I'm its heels. Numerous youngsters like me are driving this monster forward. That's how I'm used to console myself. It's a way for me to believe that my job is meaningful. But is it really like that? What if Pinghua Island isn't a monster that's steadily pacing forward, but instead it's a tree that's rotting away? But it's unable to actually go anywhere because it's rooted down. We're parasitic fungus that are rotting away this huge tree. Numerous people like me are clinging onto this tree, spreading like myriad of intertwining hyprae. I don't know how to pronounce that. We're parasites living off this huge tree. As time goes by, we'll naturally replace it. At the same time, we begin to rot ourselves, decaying into oblivion. New parasites start to manifest in our bodies, sucking in our nutrients. Once they grow up and are strong enough, they start to resist us and assemble together, replacing the society we built. That's how history goes from our times to their times. But besides that, nothing else changes. We are all born, growing and dying in the same place. Our corpses nurture new life, and new life will nurture the corpses of the future. Is this what we really want? Is such a cycle really called progress? It is, in other ways. Not like a biological cycle, but a technological cycle, probably. Psychological cycle, you know, understanding the history of what we've already gone through, growing up from the mistakes of our predecessors. In the swamp where life and death intermingle in a symbiotic relationship, is there really a meaning to our existence? There is always a meaning, but you've got to find the meaning into our existence, into your existence, sorry. Life doesn't give you a meaning, you give meaning to life. When I was a child, my favourite TV show was Traveling with KK. Accurately speaking, that generation's KK was my favourite. After that, they changed KK's actress. I wasn't that into it anymore, sorry. Speaking about KK's actress, let's just call her KK. She's an example of what it means to be famous early. She was scouted when she was still in uni, and then started interning among the TV crew. She has a story that sounded like it came straight out of a movie. At first she didn't look like a great performer. Nobody believed she could fulfill the role of KK. That was until during an accident, where the previous actress had to go on a long break. The director asked KK to try out the role. KK always wears sunglasses. Dons the same set of white shirt and jeans, even if the actress is different. Rarely do people notice. But KK seems to be naturally born for this role. Everything about her betrayal gave people the impression that this is the real KK. As a result, when the former actress returned, there wasn't a role for her anymore. That's how KK shot to stardom and flew into every household's TV set. She received numerous sponsorship deals and was invited to celebrity charity events. She also became a regular at TV shows. At the height of her popularity, any gossips related to KK could automatically become the headlines on the newspaper extras. The paparazzi from all over the city would try to ambush her at any unis, airports, hotels where KK might appear, only to find that her loyal fans already waiting for her at every possible point. KK's success was all-encompassing. Not only did she gain wealth and fame, she also brought the show Travel Through KK to its peak. Whenever the show begins, every household will be glued to the TV, watching the girl with sunglasses letting out a relaxing smile as she returns home. During the 10th anniversary special program since her debut, a young entrepreneur who had been supporting her all along publicly proposed to her. Later, KK gave birth to a daughter. Everyone wished that the daughter would grow up to be the next KK, because they believed that KK could bring forth miracles. Kiki. Everyone was encouraged by Kiki, not only because of her optimism and energy in the show, but also because of how successful she was in real life. But Kiki's daughter didn't become Kiki. Not only that, Kiki's own miracles came to a halt. No one was preventing her from moving forward. For her generation, Kiki had already become everyone's pillar of support. It was Kiki who destroyed herself. First, she started complaining on a talk show and said that she's grown sick of acting as that dimwit who only has the lower half of her face. This was the first time she swore in public. The spectators were shocked, but they never thought the optimistic and cheerful Kiki would ever say such a thing. After that, Kiki was involved in another scandal. Someone exposed that she and her husband both had lovers of their own. Both of them were not in love anymore. During that year, Kiki ran into various lawsuits. Her TV crew ran into financial issues, and the authorities started investigating. Her divorce with her husband ran into problems as well. Even though she requested help from her friends, she wasn't able to get custody of her daughter, which resulted in her nervous breakdown. And what made this worse was the constant pursuit of the reporters. Everyone would always begin their questions with, "Hello Kiki, since you're Kiki." She was pushed to the edge under the camera. Her private life was exposed, and it was in total ruin. Finally, Kiki made a decision. I'm me. Kiki is Kiki. Don't force her standards on me, okay? And that was it. Kiki resigned from her role. A whole generation's memory of Kiki came to an abrupt end. Now, I feel like I'm Kiki. Just as how everyone's praise put Kiki on edge, the happy smile on Eishu's face is arousing suspicion in my mind. It is right to treat Eishu like this. That suspicion is like a skyscraper built on a needle. Every floor on top extends out like an inverse cone, and all the weight is supported by the ground that's only a needle's width. The higher the skyscraper, the more devastating when it collapses. When I'm together with Eishu, I always try hard to put on a friendly, generous face. But this world is filled with apathy and selfishness. I covered away her eyes from reality and created a fairy tale world that is so surreal and perfect. But I can't always protect Eishu. One day she'll grow up and then she'll have to face the cold hard truth. That wobbly skyscraper would one day collapse, and her whole perception of the world would be utterly rewritten. I remember my chemistry teacher once said The purer the substance, the harder it is to survive in nature. Then how can she who is so pure in nature survive in this cruel, torturous world? Yeah, because adapting is kind of like changing your chemical compound. You're putting in new chemicals in order for your whole body to then be able to survive to the changes of the world. Maybe in order to survive, she'd have to work at a convenience store. Wow, really? Those tender smooth hands of hers would need to start working the cashier counting banknotes. That innocent smile will one day be replaced by a fake smile to serve customers. Will Eiju still be herself by then? If she were to come and ask me, why is this world so cruel, I'd be at a loss for words, just like how Kiki acted differently in front of a microphone and the camera. My urge to protect her made her like this. I'm foreshadowing a tragedy that's sealed by fate. Kiki's ending might be a hint towards my future. But when we make a mistake, we're reluctant to stop our actions. Just like a white-collar worker who's procrastinating in the morning, reluctant to get up. Even if it's just to sleep for one more minute, it feels like our soul is blessed with a bit of redemption. It's like quenching our thirst with poison. But people are rational. We can't procrastinate forever. Just like how we eventually need to get up and drag that fatigued body on ourselves to work. I already set myself a deadline. After finishing this hot pot with Eiju, I need to be frank with her. The aliens she believes do not exist. She's only an ordinary girl. Eiju, no matter how many times I've run those words in my mind, I can't utter a single word when it reaches my lips. I take a deep breath, and then finish my wine in one gulp. The heat in my stomach is rising up along my spine. I sit up straight. Eiju, I have something I have to say to you. The aliens you believe in, successors and whatever, they don't exist. I know you're not going to listen to me, but from now on you have to think this through. I can take you to the hospital, so you can be examined and see in what ways you are different from an ordinary person. Or I can take you to every corner of Pinghua Island. Right, just like Kiki. I want you to see the world with your own eyes, see how ordinary people live, and whether there are any aliens. If you don't believe me, I will continue to be with you, until you believe. My voice gets softer and softer. Eiju is leaning on the chair, sleeping. I guess she didn't hear anything I just said. When the horoscope says it's not a good day to offer any advice, I guess that's what it means. Different people react to alcohol differently. There are many people like her who drink a bit and fall asleep. I could only cradle my head in my hands and start to reflect. Did I bring fruit wine today to have her fall asleep on purpose? My subconscious must have already predicted this would happen, so I could use this as an excuse to delay. I suddenly realize how repulsive I am. I shouldn't be by Eiju's side. I decide to head downstairs. Although I've been exploring the ruins every day, there must be places I've yet to discover. The cool, frosty moonlight is shining through the windows, reflecting a crystal-like translucent blue. There is a bed and a closet, and a table in front of a window. This room is shabbier compared to the top floor, but it's not like the rooms at the lower floor which are covered in dust and rust. There are signs of Eiju is living here. There is a book on the desk. The paper is already a bit yellowish. There is some neatly written handwriting on it. Looks like this is Eiju's diary. I immediately gaze away, but the contents have already entered my eyes. 22nd of August, window 21, tide 508. So that's like chapters and verses. Jan told me he'll bring me hot pot tomorrow. We started arguing about the origins of hot pot. Jan insisted that the earliest hot pot used ceramic pots, but I insisted they were bronze pots. I must be right. This is knowledge passed on to the successors. There's no chance he knows better than me. Jan couldn't argue against me. and looks dissatisfied, but he wasn't angry and said he would still bring over a hot pot. I can't enter the city, so he's bringing me ingredients over. Jan is such a gentle person. That's why I need to work hard as well. Maybe it's because of the alcohol. I can feel my face burning up. I quickly go to close the book, but instead I leaned over to the pages in the front. 21st of August. Jan came later than usual. He said his boss gave him a special treat after work. I think Jan is amazing. His boss must like him so much. He doesn't. He laughs, but I can sense his smile was forced. I don't know why that's the case, but he didn't seem to want to continue with the conversation. Jan must be working very hard at his job. Although he's tired every day, he still spares time for me because he's worried I'll be lonely. I'll work hard as well and give him a surprise. To Aiju, I'm such a perfect person. I can't believe it myself. But for her, maybe I'm no different than the angel descending from heaven. I silently turned the pages back. Before she met me, Aiju's diary had a totally different style. 31st of July. It's raining today. I sat downstairs for the whole day. 10th June. When I woke up, it's already afternoon. 6th of March. This is going far into the past. I sat in front of a window gazing at the ocean. Aiju's handwriting looked stiff. She only records a couple of sentences each day. Is it because she wasn't in the mood to write, or because her life was really so plain and boring? After meeting me, all she wrote were things about me, okay. Things I said, what I've done, or how she's eager to see me the next day. Does she really look forward to seeing me so much? Should I allow her to rely on me so much? In the diary, the words surprise and work hard always appear. What is she working on? Is she preparing a surprise to me? Once I have these series of questions on my mind, the guilt of peeking her diary has all but vanished. I start to read every entry carefully. If I only read a bit of it, her naive thinking confuses me. But I begin to find some hints between sentences. Today there are a lot of bugs in the forest. I found a clearing at the edge of the forest. This is a good place to start working. This is the first time I've done this kind of work. It's really hard. But I work hard. This is for Jan. In the forest, I murmured to myself while tiptoeing out of the building. Maybe you should have left it on the page that it was on. Or if it was closed, then make sure it's closed and in the same place. From here I head west towards the forest. Not a single person can be seen over there, just like the ruins. There are traces of footprints on the beach. I immediately trace her steps before the night wind can blow it away. After walking for a few minutes, I arrive at the edge of the forest. The forest at midnight is a totally different world than the city. Layers of branches are swaying in the wind, like rolling waves, exchanging mysterious whispers. I leap across the rocks and roots, and quickly pace to the deep end of the forest. And here we have the beginning constructions of a boat. Just like how Aiju wrote in her diary, there is a clearing near the shore. A shore where it looks like it has boat parts. The moonlight brushes across the canopy, shining across the scenery before me. I see a pile of tree branches lying on the ground. Ropes and cloth are also scattered across the floor. I walk over to inspect further. The tree branches are human lengths long. Some have already been tied in a bunch. Some are hauled in with chisel marks. I pick up the rocks on the ground. There are sharp and angular edges on the rocks, as if they were carefully selected and polished. Looks like these branches weren't cut by knives, but instead they were chiseled out by these primitive tools. Suddenly a piercing voice echoes out from the forest. Then I hear something heavy drop to the floor. Looks like someone fell down in the dark. Tracing the voice, I quickly run towards it. As I thought, it's Aiju. I help her up. She doesn't look injured, but she is wearing an expression on her face as if she's a child who's done something wrong. We stand under the shadows of the trees, looking at a pile of branches under the moonlight. Asia is expecting my expression and starts to explain. I accidentally fell asleep. After I woke up I realized you're not here, so I came to find you. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything before I left. Oh, I read your diary. Asia jumps up as she was shocked by electricity. Then you already... I do not reply. Instead I grab the hand that she's hiding behind her back. Asia lets out a struggle, but quickly gives up. As I thought, her hands, which are supposed to be fair and tender, are full of cuts and bruises. There was a rusty smell of the bamboo. Asia must have hurt herself while chiseling with the rocks. There were also some blisters on her hand. I felt my heart ache. I pull her hands close to my chest, eyeing the items on the ground. The cluttered sticks and canes are like piled up toys, but their sizes are a bit too big for toys. What's this for? To build the boat. Thought so. Knew that was going to be the boat when we first saw it. I didn't understand her at first. The sea breeze brushes my face, waking me up from my drunkenness. I take a closer look. The item on the ground does indeed look like a raft. You're really making a boat, and then you're going to sail on the sea? Yes, because this island is already controlled by aliens. We need to leave here and find other companions. I should have started a long time ago, but before I met you, all I did was procrastinate. There we go. But after seeing you work so hard, I wanted to do something as well. You don't have to treat yourself like that, okay? You kept bringing me so many things to me. I just want to work hard to repay what you did for me. After meeting you, I'm always so happy, but you're not. You're always so tired. It must be because of how the aliens are stressing you out. That's why I want to leave with you as soon as possible. Then we can be happy every day. Aye. So it's all because of me. Then I really have to thank you. But in order to leave the island, we need to use branches and canes to build a boat. Is there really any meaning to this? If I were to ask 1,000 people on the street, I'll probably get 1,000 negative answers. There are a few ports on the island. Every day there are many ferries that sail back and forth. This is not a primitive age where we can just build a boat to sail across the sea. Asia hasn't even thought of whether her boat can be finished, and if finished, whether it can actually be sailed. She lacks knowledge about the outside world and definitely doesn't have the know-how to make a boat. She doesn't even have the stamina to do woodwork. Even if she actually completes the boat, she won't know how to navigate across the sea, how to face the waves, and wouldn't know how long she has to sail before she can reach the opposite shore. No matter how you look at it, this is just a child's fantasy. That's why I decided to say, why didn't you tell me? We can build it together. Aishu freezes. Really? You're going to build it with me? It's faster to have two of us build it together. I can bring some tools over. That's great. I'll definitely help you escape from this island. It could be something family related towards Aishu, which is why she wants to escape. Maybe the family are looking for her because she doesn't want to do something which the family wants her to do, but she really doesn't want to do it because it's something that's heinous, like forced marriage, for example. How can I ever destroy that pureness that's coming from her heart? That comes from her heart. Of course, let's build a boat together from now on. Aishu firmly nods at her head and lets out her signature smile. Anyone with common sense would know that building a boat by yourself to sail out is meaningless. But what else is meaningful? The parasitic fungus eating away the tree to become a new tree will one day be rotten away by another generation of fungus. What meaning is there? We are all born into this world by accident and eventually die. What meaning is there? There is no accident by one's birth. Even if building a boat is meaningless, I cannot find another thing that's meaningful to do. I'm only a failure in this world. When I'm at work, I get bossed around. When I'm at home, I'm all by myself. In the end, I can only hide myself away at Eiju's place. Anyone could have brought her tea leaves and hot pot. I'm not that special to her. In contrast, Eiju is a special existence to me. She gave me a reason to live. At least, now I desperately want to see her smile. Unknowingly, Eiju has already taken a place in my heart. It's not me who's supporting her, it's her supporting me. But at the same time, you are supporting her. It's not me who is wiping away the loneliness from her, it's her who's wiping away the pain accumulated in my soul. Happiness cannot be described with words, only with your heart. Because everyone's happiness is different. I'm now like a father who's looking at how his child is showing off his precious treasures. A chair that was made at woodwork class by your own son, even though it doesn't look that sturdy, it's still a father's treasure. I don't want to tell Eiju the truth, that what she believes in is just a delusion. Even if rationality is telling me to do so, even if that's the only future that is right for her. But I can't let her grow up too early, because I need to take in that innocence to purify my soul. Parents will tell the story of Santa Claus to their kids, because they enjoy when their child keeps peeking at the socks to see when they'll be full of presents. Me too. I'm drowning in it and I can't get out. Chapter 3, Immersion. A little bit of pixie dust. Or just a little bit of manual labour. Chapter 4, Shattered Dreams. Oh dear. What is night to do with sleep? Darkness, lack of being able to see. The alarm rings, tearing up the silence of the foggy dawn. I immediately sat up on my bed, like a game where a mole pops up from the ground. I turned my head around to check the time, confirming that it's already 7 AM. My body yearns for sleep, but I need to head to the convenience store to start my shift. The alarm clock is urging me to open my eyes and stretch my limbs, but I still can't shake away the fatigue that is racking my body. As I stand in front of a mirror brushing my teeth, my morning drowsiness has given me a delusion that I'm still asleep. Even the icy cold mouthwash and a mouthful of bubbles can't wipe away that fatigue. It's like a magnet, siphoning away all my attention. Finally, I was careless and brushed too hard, ignoring— ah, no! When my eyes meet with a man in the mirror who has covered his mouth, looks like a mess, some clues begin to surface. I was brushing my teeth like I was helping Eiju chisel wood. And the way I got up from bed was just like how I sat up straight on that chair inside the ruins. Even my mode of thinking is a product of casually chatting with Eiju. Gosh. And in some way she is still there. I'll pull open the door. The autumn chill has arrived early, filling up a corridor that's as narrow as an ant hive. My drowsiness still hasn't disappeared as the cool breeze sweeps by, and instead pervades into the deep corners of the city. It's only until I've walked downstairs that I realise the way I pulled open my door was just like how I was pulling the stake while helping— You're already living inside your own delusion now. Our dreams are a reflection of reality. It's also a reenactment of reality. When we dream, we recall the vivid dreams from reality. We then crop, scale and combine them into a picture, like old but new. The days I spent with Eiju at the ruins are also reflected and reenacted in my daily life. In the remaining time, I aimlessly trudge my body to work. It's no different than sleepwalking. A few minutes after leaving the flat, rain starts pelting down on my head. That's when I recall, ever since the TV broke down, I haven't watched the weather report anymore. A swarm of commuters squeeze past me. They keep complaining about the weather while walking along the platform at a constant pace. The only thing that attracts my attention are the young green twigs growing out of the old tree across the street, swaying in the wind. somehow reminds me of Asia. Gosh. Wait, it's always been Asia? Always has been. Such scenery sends me into a daze. A teenager in a school uniform keeps swaying in front of me. That's when I realise during my haze, I've unknowingly stepped inside the train compartment. The damn floor of the compartment is reflecting the energetic youthful smile of the teenagers, as well as my numb eyes. Sorry, not my dumb eyes. The contrast is so jarring it would have made a great photo. Recently my thoughts are all in fragments, like a jammed VCR playing a scratchy tape. Actually, before I met Asia I was already an airhead, but it's now become worse. The TV station. We have arrived at the TV station. Turn the corner, the TV tower instantly appears in front of a window. The teenagers turn ecstatic once they see it. Here, here, the TV station. What's up? Don't we run past this every day? Haven't you noticed the TV station occupies such a large plot of land? The city is so crowded, but how come it can occupy so much land? That's because the TV station is important, right? With no TV station, we can't watch TV. That would suck. So what? It's just because of Kiki, right? What you gonna do if you can't watch Kiki at night? We're already high school students, how come we're still watching Kiki? She's such a square, she always repeats the same stuff every night. I actually watch it a lot. Put my hand up. Really? I couldn't help but fall asleep with the past few shows. Hear that? You keep saying you don't like it, but you still watch it every night. Can't be helped, my sister drags me to watch it every night. I can't stand her. Plot twist, I don't even have a sister. If they swap Kiki's actress, it might get better. This Kiki has already been in the show for 10 years. She's getting a bit old and out of touch. I steer my gaze away from the window. I see. This generation's Kiki has already been on air for 10 years. The conversation of these high school students suddenly appears so distant. My memories are still recalling last generation's Kiki, but the present Kiki is already getting abandoned by these kids. I don't know when it started, but my life had become nothing but fragments. Each day is one day, so that means that each fragment is one day. One afternoon I begin to organize the shelves. The stainless steel frame is reflecting a slightly distorted shadow. She puts down her food tray and stares away at me wearily. Her posture somehow reminds me of how I used to stare at the snow globe. I decide to start a topic. Hey, Luxian, have you watched Kiki lately? I turn around. Luxian seems to be shocked. Luxian rarely lets out a surprised expression. It's even rarer to see her so shocked. Maybe there's something on her mind. Have you watched Kiki lately? That TV show? That TV show? I mean, we haven't spoken for a while. Why are you suddenly asking? Have I not spoken to her for a long time? I tried to recall what it was like at the store yesterday, but mine is like a jammed tape. Same for the day before and the day before that. I'm sure I finished my work, but I don't recall any details. I overheard someone on the train this morning talking about it. Do you think it's a good show? I think it's quite good. Ben, do you still remember last generation's Kiki? Luxian's expression suddenly changes. That was 7-8 years ago? I was still in high school back then. Right, I was still in middle school. Yeah, right, and something like that happened. I quickly pulled my gaze away from her. She also notices the mood is getting awkward. I got a date this afternoon, I'll be off. Oh, for goodness sakes, like, protagonist, you're letting her take advantage of you again by skiving off work? But after taking a few steps, she turns around. Jan, if there's anything, you have to let me know. Really? I'm fine. I watch as Luxian disappears into the changing room. I repeat what I just said. Really, I'm fine. The rain outside appears to be colder than ever. Mr. Cho wouldn't be coming this afternoon. I hung a closed for business sign at the door. This way no one will walk into the store. What's this? I push the storage room door open. It's full of items waiting to be loaded onto the shelves. Is this where some tools can be found? Tapes, glue, screws. Under the dim lights, I gently place them inside my backpack, as if I'm cuddling a little child to bed. Inside the storage room, a cold and damp odor is permeating through the air. Somehow it reminds me of my school days. I had longer hair back then, just long enough to cover up my wild, untamed eyes under a thick layer of bangs. I was born in the countryside, but I never felt I belonged. I always imagined myself to be a hero that'll save the world, that I'm different. The pain of reality being so different to my expectation kept lingering during my school years. Luxury must have lived a very different life than mine, but she must have known about that thing that Keke committed. Yeah, I thought that was going to be the case. It was a Friday. I was secretly reading a foreign novel during language class. Like, it wasn't that difficult to depict about the last generation Keke's sudden collapse of her life, really. You know, from all the things that happened to the lawsuits happening. There's only one path like that if things continue to be worse. It was a Friday. I was secretly reading a foreign novel during language class, looking forward to the weekend. However, I noticed a troubled expression on my teacher's face. Normally he'd be facing away from us, chalking on the blackboard with a still and frozen body. But that day, he was mildly shivering. After class, gossip started to spread. At that time, I still didn't know what was happening, but people around me weren't openly talking about what happened. It wasn't until after the midterm exams I realized that Keke had passed away. Ever since then, I couldn't be excited anymore when hearing the opening of Traveling with Keke. A whole generation couldn't count on Keke to motivate them anymore, including me. I couldn't even say a lot of things in our society died with her that day. As I kept reminiscing about the past, my body involuntarily froze a number of goods into my backpack, just like how I threw food into the hot pot for Aiju. In this airtight room, I kept repeating the same action, disregarding how tired I am, as if I'm a child being lured away by the Pied Piper. And you. The door was suddenly pushed open with a screeching sound, tearing apart the silence. I bumped my head up. At the door is Luxian. Her delicate jacket is covered with pelts of rain, while her hair is drenched. Luxian doesn't say a word and only silently glares at me. Both her eyes are shrouded behind a shadow. I'm unable to see the expression on her face. That is definitely a bit startling. I thought you was meant to go out on a date, not being here. But I know what she has seen. She saw a man who was doing everything it takes, when no one else was around, stealing goods from the store and stuffing them into his own backpack. Luxian walks over and closes the door behind her. I can only smile bitterly. What's going to happen next? I'm unexpectedly calm. I don't even want to think about that now. Oh, don't say anything! I sit up straight on the floor as soon as Luxian starts berating me. You've been acting strange lately. I got worried, but you never told me anything. You wouldn't say when I asked. On the way, I got worried, so I came back to check on you. But I never thought you'd do such a thing. Have you even considered how I'd feel? It's a crime to steal. There hasn't been a single crime on the island for so many years. If someone sees you, no matter where you go, you'll be treated as a criminal. You're still young. Have you ever considered what will happen to you in the future? I have nothing to say for myself. I can only remain silent. You asked me what's going to happen next. Yes. You'll convince me. What? You'll convince me. So I'll not tell anyone. You'll tell me the reason why you're doing this, so I'll be touched and forgive you. Whether you're being threatened or because you're sick or because you really need the money. Was it because the boss deducted wages from you and you needed to make it up here? No matter what, you'll persuade me. I'm listening. Luxian fixates her gaze on me, expecting me to give her a firm reply. It's not because of that. Let's say I don't have a reason. I don't want to explain. I just feel a bit helpless and tired. Right now I only feel a bit helpless. Kiki must have felt that way too. Kiki wasn't perfect. She couldn't act as the perfect and cheerful girl in front of everyone. I'm not perfect. I don't have the power to create a perfect world for Aiju. Ever since that night, not only did I pretend to truly believe in Aiju, I even offered to help her build her boat. I chopped down trees, wove ropes and helped her with the measurements. I accepted all her delusions and pretended to be her companion. Rocks and canes have already ground both her hands with blood-clotted blisters. Naturally, I cannot allow that to continue. That's why I brought a shovel and hoe. Aiju doesn't want to establish contact with society. She doesn't believe in wood produced by factories. She wouldn't let trucks and vans come anywhere near her either. That's why we need axes, shovels, and a lot more equipment. Even if we have the equipment, the boat she's making is like child's play. If I just allow her to build a boat according to her own imagination, it will just shatter into pieces when it's launched into the water. That's why I brought a carpenter's manual and a few models of ships. Worst of all, sometimes Aiju will use her wild imagination to draw some strangely shaped parts. Those parts definitely can't be found in the forest. I can only custom order them at the DIY store. For more delicate a product, the higher the price. But if I try to cut corners, she'll throw the parts away in disgust. I wasn't rich enough to begin with. Now my wallet is getting thinner. If we can't acquire better tools, then her boat-making project will need to be culled, together with her surreal and splendid dream. I can't allow that to happen. I can't have her experience the agony I once felt. Even if I persuade her not to build a boat, it won't change the fundamental problem. That contradiction is deeply rooted between her dream and the world's reality. Reality doesn't allow her to continue with her dream. That's why it's turned out like this. How I feel now. Luxian, do you remember the father in that movie? That father didn't have money to buy his daughter a Christmas present, so he took out a gun to rob someone. Finally, the police shot him. Before he died, the only thing he felt was regret. I already tried my best. At least Aiju is able to smile for a little longer. There's nothing right or wrong about it. I only feel regret. After hearing what I said, Luxian doesn't speak. She turns around and grabs a bottle of mineral water from a box and opens it, washing me over. And then she pours a whole bottle of water onto my head. The water drenches my whole body. It feels colder than the pouring rain outside. Are you awake now? Awake? To you, everything you do during the daytime is just a dream, right? It's only when you're with that girl, Aiju, that it feels real to you, right? How do you feel about that bottle of water? Very cold. The tea you had with that girl was warm, right? My water is very cold. So, is the coldness more real, or the warmth more real to you? Do you understand? What Luxian just said is like a needle piercing into my spine, making my whole body shiver. You're right. The cold is more real. The world is a cold place. I recall the disgusted look on their faces when they fought. I remember when I first came to the city, welcoming customers in front of the hotel door as the cold wind blew by. I recall how cold the passing glares of passerbys were when I was told off by Mr. Chow at the store. I think I called him Mr. Crow once earlier. This is the blood and sweat that's formed Tan Yan. The harsh coldness of reality is what's real. And that warmth is only a fantasy created to escape from that reality. People who drown in their fantasies. They're like a little girl inside one of Andersen's fairy tales. As they imagine a warm, hot furnace allowing their life to drain away in that biting cold. Luxian gently pulls on me. We walk out of the cold, damp storage room. Jan, recently, are you getting stressed out? Aye, this isn't Aju's fault. About a month ago I noticed you look really pale. Your mind was elsewhere while at work. Whenever I talked to you, you seemed to have something on your mind. Come to think of it, that's normal. You work overtime every day. The boss keeps picking on you. You must be under a lot of stress. Well, maybe if someone doesn't always leave early from work to do their thing with their boyfriend, then maybe we wouldn't be under this predicament in the first place. It's also my fault. I pushed all my work onto you. No, I don't care about that. As long as I aid you. I'm unable to say it. Luxian is looking at me with a sympathetic expression. Her lips are mildly shivering, resisting my nonsense. And then, that burning hot passion in my heart is flowing out. As long as she can be happy, as long as this cruel, harsh world can't hurt her, then what I'm doing has meaning to it. Even if I can't make a lot of money, even if I can't contribute to society, I don't have that kind of power or ambition. What I'm doing will never get me in the newspapers. At most, it'll just be spread word by mouth. But as long as I can protect her dream, then I have no regrets. I clench my fist tightly. So don't give me that sympathetic look. Oh, I see. What I see? You think I'm an idiot? Nope, I think it's quite romantic to be protecting a little girl's dream, but Jan. Luxian glares at me as she asks, Aju, where is she? By the coast, at an abandoned military base. Oh, it's like a preserved European medieval castle. No, I'm asking where does she live, in that ruin. Yeah. Does she really live there? What happens if there's a typhoon? What happens when it snows in winter? It's like a house over there. It's the coast. Where can she find fresh water? Humans can't drink salt water to survive. Even if she were to find fresh water, what does she eat every day? I bring food to her. Then what about before she met you? What did she eat? I never thought about that. That's a little bit of a predicament right there. There are many things you haven't thought about. People need to survive. In order to survive, there's a cost. You say she doesn't have any money. She doesn't approach anyone else. Then how does she survive? Fishing to sustain herself? You said she has fair white skin, her fingers are tender. She doesn't look like she is hard at work at all. Say, in this hot summer weather, she should be tan, sorry. Right, it's so hard. She's going to sweat every day. How does she take care of her personal hygiene? Let me tell you, if she washes herself with seawater, in the long term, her skin's going to have problems. When her hair dries, it's going to get tangled up. No matter how pretty she is, she's going to look like a beggar. Besides, where did she get her clothes from? You say she always wears a white one-piece dress. They easily get dirty. Maybe she is inside our head. Like a series of questions like piercing knives stabbing into my fantasy. I cradle my head. I can't believe I never thought of these simple questions before. Is it because I forgot, or don't want to think about it? The answer is right before me. Maybe Aju only exists in my mind, as a girl I imagined, but in order to help her, I pretend to have given my all. I did everything for her. I leave my home every night, and bring over various items. I prepared equipment that can help build her boat. Maybe it's only her guiding you, and she's always been in your mind. That's why she's so elusive of everyone else. and only speaks to Tanyan. I learned boat making just to help her. I even stole for her. Yikes, yeah. And then I drowned myself, satisfied in a sea of accomplishments, like a fanatic who just sacrificed himself for his cult. Come to think of it, I really am an idiot. I drooped my hands down, like a body with no skeleton. It's alright. You're just too tired. Everything will be alright. Lakshmi brushes her face over mine. I involuntarily extend my hands out. She brushes my hair with the tip of her fingers, like a breeze across the sea. Just like my memories suddenly awaken. Dreams are a reflection of reality. It's also a reenactment of reality. Having received a sudden gentleness, I realized the action of extending my hands out originated from the moment I held Aju's hand. Hi, I'm Aju. I'm here to save the world. Do you want to help me? She didn't specify what world, this world, or Tanyan's world. That day, she was letting out a smile, extending her hands to me. Her voice was reverberating. In my ear, it was so real. Under the moonlight by the sea, she's like a princess, elegant and prideful. I held her hand and squeezed it between my palms. Under my coarse hand, hers was so delicate, then gentle and warm touch was unforgettable. Can that all be fake? My eyes pierced through Lakshmi's eyes, and I answered her with determination. Alright, I believe you. I believe Aju. I believe her. I will find her. I pushed Yakshun away and pushed open the door, rushing out into the rain. The rain is pouring down, engulfing everything, including the convenience store behind me. Yakshun looks at me. Her eyes filled with sadness, but she's unable to stop me anymore. Rationality is telling me that Lakshmi is right. I should return to following the timetable, where everything is planned out for me. But I'm still grasping to that lingering shred of hope that there's still a miracle in this world. For that miracle, I dash through the rain, running forward. My feet lands on the earth, sending up sprays of water and fragments of my hope and dreams. Yikes. Shattered Dreams, Chapter 4. Promise. Okie dokie. I think this is a good place to finish off, I think. So, folks, we're going to leave things off here and... Hold on. Oh, now we're here. Oh gosh, we're going to come back to this in the next episode. Oh my. So thank you all so much for watching, guys. We shall see each other in the next time of Snowdome. Hope you're enjoying this so far. And take care of yourselves.